So I don't do a lot of flips.
Mm-hmm.
The cash conversion is too slow for me. I can make more money by turning deals and turning paper and getting mailbox money. So our whole model is, I think I've probably done maybe 10 flips in my whole career in 31 years.
What do you actually do?
So my forte is to buy and hold property. So I try to buy property creatively. So my mentor back in 93 taught me how to do wraps, seller finance. I use private money, this kind of stuff. So I don't have to use any of my own money to buy property. So most of my portfolio, I've never used a dime of my money. Okay. So I buy very creatively.
How much do you get the money for?
Sometimes nothing. I get it at 0% interest.
How?
Okay. That's why you're talking to me. So if you're doing seller financing, so let's say you find somebody that owns a property free and clear. Some of those people are tired landlords. Okay. They are tired of dealing with tenants. They're tired of dealing with toilets, that kind of stuff, but they like their cash flow. You can turn around and talk to them. Let's say it's a $100,000 property. And let's say that they just want out of it, but out of that $100,000 property, when you are a landlord, 40 to 50% of your rent goes to expenses. Okay, it's going to go to vacancy, property management, it's going to go to maintenance, it's going to go to capital improvements, this kind of thing. Okay, so what happens is let's say you get $1,000 worth of rent. We'll just keep the numbers simple.
Right.
Theoretically, $500 of that is going to go to expenses. The other $500 has to go to your debt service. What is the debt on the property? If it's free and clear, then there's no debt, but you do have insurance and you do have taxes. If you find a landlord that has paid this property off, they still have the $500 worth of expenses and they still have taxes and insurance. So they've probably got anywhere from $700, maybe $800 going out in expenses. They're only making $200 a door. What if you can come in and tell them that you're going to pay them $400 a month cash flow until paid in full? Now, the way I worded that was paid in full means that I didn't insinuate any interest and I didn't insinuate any time other than $400 a month until you're paid in full. Okay. So if you take that 400 on a $100,000 property, divided by 400, that's 250 months. And they will have all their money. You're giving them $200 higher than what they were making as a landlord, and they have no worries. Worst case scenario, they get the property back because you quit making payments. What's going to happen then? They just put a shitload of money in their pocket, okay, by you making the payment. But at the same time, they had no worries. They get the property back and they just turn around and resell it again. So that's the worst case scenario. So that's how you get zero interest, zero money out of your pocket. At the same time, we do what they call wraps. A lot.
So it's like it's called like a subject to.
Nope. This is seller financing.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's talk about subject twos. Okay. There's a big buzzword out there of subject twos. Be careful with that. Okay. And who you talk to. Here's why. I go back to the old school. Back in the late 90s, early 90s. There were what they call wraps back then, old-time wraps. A wrap is no different than what a sub-2 is. However, they are different. What most people are teaching today in sub-2 is they don't protect their seller. The seller has no deed of trust, has no promissory note. So let's say I buy a property from you and you sell it to me subject to. The way they do it today is you just sign over your deed to me, and we just have some paperwork of the purchase contract, and that's it. You have no protection if I quit making payments.
Right. Who's on the deed when that happens?
Me.
Yeah, that's awful.
You're on the loan.
Right. That's like
Okay?
that's ridiculous, stupid.
But that's what's happening today.
Right.
The way I do them is I'm going to buy your property. I am going to go on the deed, but I'm going to give you a promissory note and a deed of trust. So if I quit making payments, and the way my deed of trust reads, or the promissory note reads, after 45 days of my payment being late, you can foreclose on me. Okay? So that protects your underlying note. So that's what a true wrap is. So that's the way I teach doing sub-2 wraps. I call them sub-2 wraps. So everybody calls them sub-2s, but I do it as a wrap portion because I'm protecting my seller. Because if I default, then the seller can get their property back. We do sub-2 wraps. We do seller finance. And the other thing I do is I do pay cash for houses, but I use private money. Okay. For example, I could come to you and say, Jamie, I need $10,000 or I need $50,000. I'll pay you 10% interest only. You'll be into it for 5 years and then I'll get your money back out. And it's secured with real estate. I'm going to give you a promissory note. I'm going to give you a deed of trust. You're in first position. By default, you're going to get a house that I just paid 70 cents on the dollar for. So your loan is secure. So I get a lot of private money that way, and I will go in and pay cash for houses. I don't use my money. I use private money. So that's the 3 ways we buy.